Well, shares of Nvidia are surging in after hours here after first quarter earnings came in better than expected. For more analysis, we turn to Angelo Zino, CFRA Research Senior Equity Analyst. Good to talk to you today. Overall sales, we should point out, fell a quarter compared to year on year. But this is all about the forecast here and so much optimism riding on Nvidia's data center business with AI.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So on a year-over-year basis, I mean, you're talking about a revenue decline, I think, of about 13% or so. And to maybe put it into context, that's lapping essentially an all-time high in terms of their gaming revenue, in terms of peak gaming demand. And so when you kind of take that into context, overall, I mean, the numbers for the quarter were pretty good. Data center grew about 14%. We're looking for growth of about 4% or so. And on the gaming side of things, the losses, I think, were down about 38%. We were looking for a decline of about 45 to 50%. So overall, the quarter came in pretty good. But yeah, make no mistake, this is all about the guidance in terms of that 11 billion revenue number and kind of what some of these cloud players are doing in terms of the investments on the GPU side of things as it relates to their data center business. And clearly, there is a shift taking place within the semiconductor industry where a lot more content and dollar spend is going towards GPUs and away from other type of infrastructure type related investments like storage, for instance, because of kind of all this hype that's going on in the AI side of things.
Yeah, Angelo, where are we in the innings of AI? Are we still in the early innings? And when it comes to, obviously, NVIDIA's first mover advantage there, what does that moat look like?
Yeah, listen, I think when we think about AI here and what inning we're in, I mean, clearly we're in the early innings, right? I mean, I start thinking about kind of, what Alphabet's done with their TPUs, their kind of internal application-specific chips, and that's been out for about 6-7 years. So these companies have been investing in AI for several years now. So we're not necessarily kind of, this isn't anything that's necessarily new for a lot of these cloud players in terms of their investments. We've seen a number of products kind of rolled out here in terms of what Microsoft and Alphabet are doing. I mean, it seems like every single day there's kind of something new coming out on that side of things. So when we kind of think about the trajectory here, I'll put it maybe this way. I think NVIDIA has kind of a very clear pathway in terms of significant revenue growth, not only here over the next 12 to 18 months, but over the next decade. And it's not only going to be driven by kind of AI and data centers, but it's clearly going to be driven, with AI across kind of, all end markets, whether we're talking about autonomous capabilities when we kind of look out towards 2025, 2026. But they've got a lot of legway here to really see significant growth, which is going to be driven by kind of more AI capabilities. Again, not only inside the data center.
Angelo, it feels like the excitement around AI has kind of overshadowed the concerns that we had with Nvidia and potential restrictions on the Chinese market. Now, we heard from Jensen Huang talking specifically about cautioning lawmakers against additional restrictions, although there's some already in place. Where do you put that in terms of the risk for the company right now?
Yeah, listen, I think the numbers probably could have been even better if we had kind of, if they had unlimited access to all geographic regions and the ability of them to, sell their H1s, but H100s. But, to some extent, it's also, to some extent supply constrained in many respects, or at least we think so. So, as far as kind of the risk for China are concerned right now for NVIDIA, I don't think it's necessarily a big deal because of where we are, in terms of the cycle. That being kind of closer to the bottom of the cycle and some of the more consumer-driven type end markets. And then, of course, the opportunities just here in the U.S. and Europe as far as kind of the AI opportunity is concerned on the data center side of things. So it's probably not something that's impacting the company right now that much. But as we kind of start thinking about the long-term opportunities out there, China is, of course, a critical market out there. You've got some major cloud players out there, whether we're talking about the Tencents, Alibaba's, Baidu's of the world, and clearly NVIDIA wants to be part of kind of the evolution of those companies. So it's important. It's not necessarily something that's going to impact the numbers here over the next 6 to 9 months, though.
Angelo, you just raised your price target from $300 to $350. We're trading in after hours. We're actually above that by $15, right around $365. Are you going to revise your outlook here? And what do you think that growth number potentially looks like?
Yeah, listen, as far as when you look at the actual forecast here of about 11 billion, I think was the number. I mean, you're looking at a growth pace of north of 60% here for their July quarter, and that's absolutely phenomenal when you kind of look at what the expectation was, and that it was about 7% top line growth. Our view was you were going to see something along the lines of 30% top line growth as you were going to exit the calendar year. Clearly, that number is going to look a lot more favorable, at least in our view, given what we're looking at in the July quarter. I think what we need to find out first off on this call is how sustainable is some of this kind of near-term demand, is some of it potentially being pulled in or not. And as we kind of get more clarity on that side of things, I think we can kind of come up with better assumptions here in the second half, in the second half of the fiscal year, as well as, more importantly, into fiscal 25 and beyond.
CFRA's Angelo Zino, good to talk to you today. Incredible run we're seeing, at least in after hours here for the stock.